This one perspective shift has completely changed the way that I make music. The first thing to understand is that every artist can fall into this trap, and it's almost always overlooked. So many people say, don't overthink it, just finish the thing. Don't wait till everything's perfect, but I don't think this deserves to be a blanket statement used for every situation. If your vision isn't met with your standards, then there are other options instead of just saying, finish it and move on. So let me show you. A couple years ago, I threw some guitar melodies and some drums together, and I started humming to what I was making one night. It was already late and I could feel that my eyes were burning, but something clicked and suddenly I could feel the juices were flowing. And when that happens, when you know that the inspiration has come to you, you have to answer that call. Because you never know when that moment comes again. And so, I had to finish that song that night before it escapes and it's completely gone forever. I was excited to dive in. I started singing to the instruments, and this idea of a chorus just spontaneously came up in my head. It was just so organic, and in one take, I had the hook. I kept going through the song. The lyrics were just flowing out of me so smoothly, every word dripping out of my mouth like honey. This amazing feeling of euphoria was intoxicating, but halfway through the start of the song, it just suddenly stopped. I lost connection to whatever power was giving me my words and melodies. And then, I felt a pit in my stomach as I looked at the time. I could see the sun coming up as I looked back at an unfinished song. I didn't finish in time. And I was devastated because I knew that if I went to sleep now, I would lose the moment and that energy that was lingering would eventually disappear. I was so tired, and despite all my efforts, I had to call it a night. I couldn't keep going. The next day, I just felt so bad because I knew that I was never going to replicate that same magic from last night. My voice, when I was performing, just wouldn't match the tone and the emotion that I had last night. The lyrics and the writing just wouldn't come out as spontaneously. That magical connection I had to the song was severed. No matter how much I wanted to finish the song, I just could not rush it, and I could not anticipate the energy to come back. And I thought to myself, maybe it's not worth finishing. If it's not coming out like it used to, then maybe it's not that good in the first place, and I can just toss it to the side and move on with my life. So, I sent it to a couple people, thinking that maybe I was overhyping this for myself, only to hear back that they loved the snippet. They loved it! They loved the snippet and wanted to hear more. So imagine my surprise. And I didn't have the heart to tell them that that was all I had done for the song so far. So, with that new feedback, I went back to the drawing board and tried again, and again, and again. And nothing was working. I was constantly trying to make the song feel the same way that it felt that night. Chasing the moment, wishing I could recreate what I had. And after so many days of trying to finish this song, trying to replicate what couldn't be replicated, I quit. It just wasn't worth the effort. And I just felt like I had to keep going with other projects. Other ones that would come to me quicker. Insecurity would settle in, and I would tell myself that maybe I'm just not good enough yet. I wanted to step away from it all. The song stayed unfinished for years on my computer, in my graveyard of incomplete projects. And then there was another part of me that knew that if I had completed it just for the sake of completing it, that I would be making something that is unacceptable to my standards. And I didn't want that either. And I just didn't want to do that for a song that I believed in so much. So I realized that the only option I had at the time was patience. I had to stop rushing and just trust that one day I would figure it out eventually. And sometimes that can be your best move. I realized that I lacked the system for songwriting. And for anybody that's interested in diving deeper into the songwriting process, you can also get updates when you subscribe to my newsletter on Substack, linked in the description. Eventually, years passed, and I almost forgot about the song, but I opened up the old file when I was searching for something else by accident. When I opened it, the melodies and the nostalgia just swept over me. I looked at the project and the same empty verses from before were staring right back at me. And I was reminded of that lost moment all those years ago. It was a reminder of my insecurities, my lack of creativity, my lack of commitment to something that had so much potential. I looked at the unfinished lyrics, remembering my writer's block, but this time around, I knew that I was ready to set my standards how I wanted them and to tackle them head on. I just hovered over the song as I was crafting every moment bit by bit. And in one night, without chasing the moment and getting out of my head, I was able to finish the song. I created something that I'm very proud of, and it's out now everywhere, linked in the description below. Earlier I mentioned that trusting the process with patience and not chasing the moment helps you make better songs. But if you don't have any systems for songwriting, then not even trusting the process will do enough to save your song. So sign up to my newsletter where I'll talk about this and also the journey that I'm on as an artist. I'll send updates on songwriting and production insights, songs I make, playlists, and more. Thanks for watching.